Thank you, Mr. Zubin, and I do appreciate your work in terms of targeting Hezbollah, the legislation that I and Elliot Engel passed and the committee passed in December to the President's desk, and your implementation of that is appreciated. But you noted in your testimony that the United States has, in your words, no plans to give Iran access to the U.S. financial system. I appreciate that clarification. However, that hasn't been the source of our concern. Let me be specific here. Does the United States have any plans to offer Iran the ability to access offshore dollar clearing facilities to allow for dollar-denominated transactions and ease Iran's ability to trade internationally? Or are there plans for the administration to allow the Iranians to conduct large-scale dollar-denominated transactions and dollar clearing in any form? And your testimony, as I heard it, studiously avoided that question. So let me put that to you.
Thank you, Chairman, for the question, and I welcome the chance to clarify an area that I think has been the subject of a lot of confusion and concern. Our sanctions, our primary sanctions in the U.S., control what U.S. actors can do and what they cannot do. That governs the conduct of U.S. actors anywhere they reside in the world. So, for example, a branch of a U.S. bank in Europe, in East Asia, has to behave like a U.S. person here in Washington or here in New York. Our sanctions, on the other hand, do not control the actions of non-U.S. persons. Whether or not the currency they're using is the dollar, the euro, the pound, or the yen. So to be very specific, every foreign bank in the world has U.S. dollars in their possession. It is, thankfully, the international currency of choice for international trade. That means banks in Europe, Japan, China all hold dollars in their vaults. Our sanctions don't extend to those dollar bills. And foreign actors aren't under our jurisdiction if they choose to give those to any actor, including an Iranian actor. And so I just want to be clear as to the contours of our jurisdiction in response to offshore dollar clearing. That's something that's beyond
But that seems to have a different intent than the response the Treasury Secretary gave me when I asked him in the Financial Services Committee this question. I asked the Treasury Secretary, I think it was 2 months ago, if he stood by his testimony during the agreement's consideration in which we were assured they would not have access. Instead of shutting the door right there, Secretary Lew said his focus was on making sure Iran gets relief. And 2 months since, the President still has not responded to my letter on this question. So there's been ample time for the administration to bring absolute clarity to this question. And the concern is that while Iran wouldn't be allowed direct access to the dollar, you could structure a scheme offshore that would have similar impact. So I just remind you, it's Treasury itself, it's your department that has declared the entire territory of Iran as a primary money laundering concern, and that means that any financial transaction with Iran or any offshore scheme that is set up risks supporting the regime's ongoing illicit activities, including ballistic missile activities and everything else. Let me go to a question for Assistant Secretary Countryman.
Mr. Chairman, would I just be able to clarify something from
Yes, but you can clarify it. But Iran is pushing this, right? I mean, I read the translations of the Iranian papers. I see what they're pushing for, but go ahead.
Yeah, I just wanted, and thank you for the opportunity, I just wanted to clarify, Secretary Lew has made himself clear on the record in public, and of course we look forward to responding to your letter to be clear in writing as well. But he has said exactly what I have said here today, and I know he was looking forward to me being here to be able to relay his views on this, which is Iran will not have access to our financial system.
Perfectly fair, but when I asked him the question, the focus was on making sure Iran gets relief. And so let me go to the next question, and this is to Assistant Secretary Countryman. The last question I'll ask here. In your testimony, you put stock in the new UN Security Council Resolution 2231 and its provisions related to Iran's ballistic missile program. Now, it's well documented that before the deal, Iran was legally bound by UN Security Council resolutions not to test ballistic missiles. Now, here's the problem in the negotiation. The first problem, one that the members of the committee are already aware of, and that is the administration agreed to a change. Instead of saying shall not, the change was Iran shall be called upon not to. All right? So that was watered down. But there's other language in there, new language, that focuses on Iranian missiles designed, and this is something that frankly I missed, designed to be capable of delivering nuclear weapons, while it previously focused on missiles capable of delivering nuclear weapons, okay? So what was the rationale for using the words missile designed to be capable of instead of simply missiles capable of? If I could ask that.
I don't know the answer. I was not involved in the negotiations. I'll get you an answer if I can. I would note that the new Resolution 2231 does not change the substantive prohibition on provision of any kind of ballistic missile technology to Iran.
Well, wait, but you have the Iranian foreign minister saying that that word in these negotiations, designed, he said, it took me 7 months to negotiate, so everybody knew what it meant. And so what they're saying now is with the change, Iran shall be called upon not to, rather than not to, that they can go forward full speed with their ICBM program, and that's what they're doing. As we sit here, that's what they're doing. And it's not as though they're hiding the intent. They combine that with the rhetoric, death to America, death to Israel. I just think we've got a situation. Well, let me let you respond.
I don't believe Iran has ever hidden its intent to continue developing ballistic missiles, nor has it slowed down doing so, no matter what administration took what steps.
But here's what we've got. We've got a situation now where the Security Council, I mean, what can we point to where we can say the Security Council now is taking action against Iran's missile program? None that I can see.
I understand we have fewer rhetorical points to make. I don't focus on the rhetoric. I focus on the active effort to deny the export of technology from advanced countries to Iran. I understand that Iran's interpretation is different from ours.
But our difficulty here is that we've now given Russia, or we've given Beijing, the ability to interpret this differently. We have forever now a less effective constraint on Iran's missile program than we had before. And on top of that, we now see Iran asserting this in the international community, and we don't see the pushback from the United States. This is the point I wanted to make to you. My time's expired. I'll go to our ranking member, Mr. Engel of New York, for his questions.